you can count on. You're watching WTVM News Leader Now. Sponsored by Montlick & Associates, Columbus Injury Attorneys.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us here on News Leader 9 at 5. A busy day as we're dealing with the effects of once hurricane, now tropical storm Irma.
Yeah, Irma moved into the Chattahoochee Valley this morning and continues to batter the region with rain and high winds. Take a look at some of the video and pictures coming into our newsroom. It is the same scene from place to place, trees and power lines down, some even landing on cars and homes. Winds so fierce they ripped off part of a Circle K awning. We're still hours away from the center of the storm passing over Columbus.
And we are continuing team coverage for you on the effects of this massive storm Irma on the Chattahoochee Valley. With damage from downed trees and flooding in Georgia and Alabama, our crews are spread out all across the region.
And we are certainly not out of the woods yet as this tropical storm is moving very slowly through our region.
And Storm Team 9 keeping a very close eye on Irma all day long. Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid joins us now with details on what we've seen and what we can expect tonight. Derek?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, of course, keeping a close eye on Irma. And the news is good tonight, as it often is when these systems get out over land. We have seen Irma steadily weakening throughout the course of the day. At the moment, the peak winds are about 50 miles per hour in the center of that storm, located very near Albany. You'll notice most of the heavier rain is displaced to the north and to the west of that center of circulation, where we find most of the stronger winds now, north and west of where that center is. As we move south from there, you'll notice there's not a lot going on rain-wise. We will see the rain beginning to come to an end as that center of the storm approaches Columbus and approaches other areas in the Chattahoochee Valley. This is the look at the current radar view. Notice the showers that we still have in place, some heavier bands of rain mixed in there as well. In fact, from near Anniston, Alabama down to Montgomery, we're looking at a band of heavier rain there. That's where we might also find some of those heavier winds. Same story from near Atlanta through LaGrange back down into Harris County, where you see some of those shades of yellow showing up, and then another band of rain east of Atlanta down to about Talbotton that we're watching for you as well. Anywhere in here, again, you can still get those wind gusts that would be strong enough to knock down trees, again, cause some additional power outage issues. But the news overall improving when it comes to the idea that we can finally get this thing out of here after midnight tonight for most here in the Chattahoochee Valley. You'll notice again the rain starting to come to an end well on down to our south. Here's the latest update from the Hurricane Center. It does have the center of the storm right now over Albany. It should be centered in East Alabama by about 2 o'clock Eastern time, somewhere in that Randolph-Chambers County line. And then by early Tuesday morning, this thing is going to be well to our north and west as things start to improve in the Chattahoochee Valley. So for additional impacts, I do think between now and 8 p.m. for the counties highlighted in red, between now and midnight for the counties highlighted in yellow, and between now and about 3 a.m. for the counties in orange, we can deal with additional wind impacts between 15 and 35 per hour at times. Might be a higher gust as the center comes through between 25 and 45, and I do think total rainfall from this will be between about 2 and 5 inches. So we just haven't seen that big issue with flooding, although of course there has been some localized flooding in spots as Irma has passed on through. And again, that would be about the 8 p.m. position, very near Casita, getting ready to move through Columbus by then. That's when again we might see those additional gustier winds or stronger winds as Irma moves through. That could of course cause additional issues with power outages, trees down, and that sort of thing. So stay vigilant, but the news overall good as Irma continues to weaken right now. We'll be talking a lot more about the path coming up, as well as a forecast for you over the next 9 days coming up in just a little bit, guys.
All right, Derek, thank you. And Columbus Public Works taking 117 calls today from people needing help with downed trees or flooding. Winds and rains have caused power outages across Georgia and Alabama. Right now, more than 1 million people are without power in Georgia, with the number growing. In Alabama, the number's not as bad, about 41,000 people there without power.
Crews are asking customers to be patient because high winds are creating some very dangerous conditions that crews were not able to get out to lines and restore power as quickly as they can in normal conditions. But they are back at it now after taking a break because of those high winds, now clearing streets and removing down power lines, pledging to get everyone back online as soon as possible.
And patience definitely the key. Well, damage is widespread and growing. News Leader 9's Chandler Morgan is in East Alabama, where they're feeling the impact of Tropical Storm Irma. And Chandler, so what is going on out there tonight?
Well, you guys mentioned that there's many different power outages and the damage is affecting. This is one of the areas. I'm off of North Uniroyal Road in Opelika. You can see here behind me a tree did take down this power line. I want to take a second to tell you guys this is one of those instances that you're going to be seeing across the area, both in Georgia and in Alabama. Trees are coming down, taking those power lines with them. So this is one of those instances that you don't want to be near any type of power line because that line could be live with any type of electricity. Now, we are told that this area has on and off power, and as we were coming through, there were many gas stations, many power, as you can see. And as you can see, there's still heavy winds.
And we apologize for those technical problems caused probably because of the weather. We're going to go check back in with Chandler coming up on our news at 5:30 and 6. Going to go right now, though, to Americus, where our Parker Branton has been eyeing the damage there.
So, Parker, what are you seeing there? What can you tell us about what's happening in Americus?
Tree in the front part of a home on Wildwood Circle in Americus came crashing down in the front yard, and the whole entire street is littered with debris.
We're worried, but we're keeping upbeat. Yeah.
Winds whipping upwards of 40 miles an hour here in Americus. Trees and lines littering the street as crews are working to clean up the area. Over 1,000 people in Sumter County without power. One homeowner stood outside and watched a tree crash outside her front yard.
It got really crazy and everything started flying around, and the next thing I know I hear a big crack, and I'm standing like right where you're at, and it falls right here and blocks off the road. So honestly, it scared the tar out of me.
Crews say their number one priority is clearing the streets of any debris so that cars are able to pass by, and they will continue to work on getting power restored. Reporting in Americus, Parker Branton, WTVM News Leader.
All right, well, thank you, Parker. And meantime, in Columbus, we've received reports of downed trees in the Lake Bottom area as well. That's where we find our Sharifa Jackson with the very latest. Sharifa, what can you tell us?
Well, Jason, I'm on Shannon in Columbus, and this is one of the latest locations we've gotten reports of trees tumbling over. You can see this tree is massive, and it took no time to knock over, according to neighbors. They say it sounded like thunder, and the tree just came over. And I'm gonna walk a little this way so you can see just the size of this tree. And we've been getting reports like this all across Columbus, from the north side of town all the way to the south side of town as well. And the tree is on the roof and also on their car as well. Now, I'm told the people who live in this location, they have since left to a safer location to ride out the storm. Of course, they didn't expect this, and it has been happening all across town as well. And these aren't small trees that are toppling over. They are of big, large size, fairly large size. And over here you can see this is about the size of this tree that toppled over as well. So it's very, very large, happening all across the city. And of course, we'll have more coming up at 5:30 about the trees and also the debris and everything that has been happening as Hurricane Irma makes its way through the Chattahoochee Valley. For now, reporting live in Columbus, Sharifa Jackson for News Leader 9.
Well, thank you, Sharifa. Massive tree. Glad everyone's okay there.
That's amazing. It did not hit the house there. Continuing our team coverage now from Tobbleton County, our Jose Zozayan. So, Jose, tell us what type of damage you're seeing there in Talbot County.
Barbara, Jason, I just want to give you a closer look at the extent of some of the damage we've been seeing in some of our southern counties in our coverage area. This tree right on completely uprooted and coming down over the front of it, just totally torn down. And unfortunately, we've been seeing a lot of these trees, thankfully not on as many homes, but the story has been pretty much the same around Marion County, Sumter County, places like not just Americus, but in Plains and here in Talbotton. A lot of the story sometimes too is those trees actually falling down onto the roads, creating a hazard for traffic trying to make its way back and forth, potentially trying to get home. Thankfully, though, a lot of those emergency crews like the fire department and the sheriff's department definitely out there on the scene, chopping these trees off with chainsaws and clearing that debris as quickly as they can in order to open up these roads. And for the most part, that damage that you've been seeing here in these counties, mostly, again, those trees and power lines, not a lot of structural damage to buildings or. And it seems like a lot of these folks are really just kind of riding the storm out inside, warm, safe. No word on yet if they've also lost their power here We'll work to find that information out, and we'll try and show you a little bit more and see if we can talk to these folks as they're trying to pick up some of this damage. For now, reporting live in Talbotton, Jose Zozaya for News Leader 9. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, Jose, to a large degree, lucky so far. Let's hope it stays that way. Thank you.
And across the river in Alabama, power crews estimating 41,000 people are without power so far as Irma makes its presence known in the valley. News Leader 9's Brandon Etheridge joins us now live in Auburn with a look at the damage happening there. What are you seeing, Brandon?
Hey, Jason. Yeah, 5,000 of those 41,000 are here in Lee County that are without power. A lot of that reason because of things like this, these large trees that are falling in the area. I want to show you this. The water just completely puddled in this area, and that's what saturated these roots. When the wind came through, like you're seeing right now, this entire tree toppled over. We've seen this several places in the area here in Auburn. Right down the road, crews still trying to get power restored. We talked to some of the people that were there as one of the trees fell in that part of town earlier today.
We were inside watching TV and we heard this loud crash, and then the power went out, and so we peeked outside our window and we saw it, and we saw a spark, so I started calling in, letting the emergency crews know so they could get out.
Yeah, and speaking of those first responders, I was at the Lee County EMA just a little bit ago, and what they were saying, be patient with those first responders. Don't go around their cars and cones. They're there for your safety, and just respect what's happening there. Just be as patient as you can with those first responders. Reporting live in Auburn, Brandon Etheridge, WTVM, News Leader 9.
Some good advice, Brandon. Let those emergency crews do their jobs. Thank you so much.
And as you said, more weather to go. As always, you can stay up to date wherever you go.
And get the very latest information on Irma by downloading our free news and weather apps to your mobile devices.
And we're watching, of course, Irma still as the center of circulation moves into the Chattahoochee Valley, so we're not quite through with it just so the winds might be calming down for some. We'll have more in the forecast for you over the next 9 days as well, and a look at the next tropical system, Jose, right after the commercial break.